In flagrant defiance of international regulations, Israel has been building settler units in occupied Palestinian territories. To fund its illegal activity, the regime enlisted the financial support of its largest banks. Bank Hapoalim, Bank Leumi, First International Bank of Israel, Israel Discount Bank, and Mizrahi Tefahot Bank lend money to homebuyers, settlement councils, or companies that carry out construction in the occupied West Bank. Most of those Israeli banks are members of the UN Global Compact, a group of companies that calls on its members to make sure that they are not complicit in human rights violations. However, when it comes to making a substantial profit, human rights violations are seemingly very low on the list of the Israeli financial institutions' priorities.
The problem is that even though I'm speaking to you from Britain, even though the British government considers these settlements to be illegal, to be violations of international law, even though under the Geneva Convention they clearly fit into the category of a war crime, all the governments who hold to that position act very much to the contrary and do nothing whatsoever to make that policy real.
Prominent human rights group Human Rights Watch has in a report sharply criticized the Israeli banks for their involvement in the regime's illegal settlement constructions in the occupied West Bank. The HRW says the bank's involvement is direct and substantial, noting that they acquire a property interest in the development projects and shepherd them through the completion.
So these banks should be sanctioned. They are very much part of a completely integrated Israeli government program to increase the percentage of Zionist Jews in specific areas and to reduce the numbers of Palestinians living there. So clearly a war crime. But if we wait for the sanctions to come from government, then it doesn't look as if this is going to happen for quite some time. So yes, they need to be sanctioned. The question is who will do the sanctioning?
The rights group underlined the fact that Israeli banks do not offer any services to Palestinians because Palestinian residents of the West Bank are forbidden by military order to enter settlements. It urged the Israeli banks to comply with their human rights responsibilities and cease doing businesses in or with Israeli settlements. Issuing scathing reports about Israel's human rights abuses do not usually go unanswered, as the regime has over the past years adopted measures to block the activities of leading rights organizations. Earlier in May, Tel Aviv ordered Human Rights Watch's local director, Omar Shakir, to leave Israel, claiming he supports a campaign aimed at boycotting the regime. HRW accused Israel of seeking to muzzle criticism of its human rights record by ordering Shakir's expulsion. Also last year, Israel sued Amnesty International and imposed bans on the rights group's financial resources for its move to endorse boycotts of Israeli goods made in illegal settlements.
Israel is not a self-sufficient, independent economy. It's massively integrated through international trade and therefore is vulnerable to the BDS movement, which has already shown very substantial success in the area of boycott.
Today, more than 500,000 Israelis live in over 120 illegal settlements, while the construction of thousands more units were approved. Despite international outcry over the issue, the U.S. keeps shielding Israel from being held accountable for its violations of international law, which are in line with the regime's plan to Judaize the West Bank.